Alright, so today we're going to do something very, very different, and there was one that I did before, but this is something that I've been doing before, and it's kind of like getting a little more people interested in AutoCrafting here, especially in my Discord. Definitely some more people that have never experimented with it before are starting to do it, mainly because I am hosting basically a reward for the winner that makes either the fastest or the most compact. Now, for future ones, I probably will only do one, and we'll decide which criteria we're going to go for. If we're going to go for the smallest possible one, or if we're going to go with the fastest possible. Now, there are some things like that we'll take into consideration, but for this one, we did both because it's like the first official one making a video off. I didn't make a video on the first one. I will, the first one was no block, so I will show some of those crafters here. As you can see, some different designs people went for. Some people went for the smaller ones. People went for the actual fastest one. Some people went for the one where I titled it myself. That was just something I wanted to challenge myself. But yeah, so it's definitely a lot of different ideas, designs, different ideas people had when they started making their crafter here. But yes, this one's going to be a bit different. The note block is a very, very simple recipe. What I wanted to do for this one is get people experience with dummy items. So for this one, there was voting between shulker boxes, regular rails, redstone lamps, iron doors, and scaffolding. Those are the redstone components that I think would be the most useful because they do use dummy items, but they are very, very, very useful for obviously technical players, and just not even people that are just play Minecraft. You know, you need a lot of those shulker boxes. Sometimes you need a lot of rails and scaffolding and stuff like that. So that's kind of why I added those into the poll, and the one that won was shulker boxes by a complete long shot. I think there was only 2 other votes between all of the other 4 combined, and there was like 13 or something for shulker box itself. Unfortunately, I only didn't receive all the crafters that were voted, so I think we have like 5 people in total in this challenge, not including myself. I have mine here. This was like from way long ago when I was like first experimenting with AutoCrafting. So you can see this one is not the best looking one, but it is functional at 1100 shulker boxes an hour. It's just, it's a bit outdated, for the time that it is now. So basically, we're going to be going through all the AutoCrafter submissions I received. We'll start with my first one, the original shulker box AutoCrafter that I made. This didn't use minecarts or hopper minecarts, mainly because of the lag. But this one, I wanted it to be just completely hopper in my own design. I didn't want to take it off El Mango. Alright, so this is the first one here. You can see it is quite massive in scale because it was its first iteration. And I never really updated it because dummy items are really, really annoying to deal with sometimes, especially with hoppers, because you're limited to the speed of the hopper transfer, and there's really not much you can do there. Alright, so there's one on. Usually I had a whole UI and everything, but I took that down just to make it the crafter itself. Just flip this lever for now. Usually there was a bunch of things for I had a whole UI and everything, like I said, but this for now, we'll just turn that guy on right there, and you can see the crafting here. As you can see, it's not the fastest at all. This was like I said, very, very early on when I started AutoCrafting. Like, it's still pretty decent. 1100 shulker boxes an hour isn't slow at all. But there's definitely ways to improve this substantially. Not only in its tileability, but it's also its size of redstone and everything that was used here. But yeah, we did actually use this in the shulker factory in the AutoCraft SMP. So this allowed us to craft shulker boxes. I think we have currently 200,000 shulker boxes that crafted fully autonomously, and that's based off an actual shulker farm being in the same area and actually a azalea tree farm, so that we can basically make it all in the background, no player, only one chunk loader, and that's all we did. So that was a fun project to do, and it has served us really, really well. But the crafter, like I said, can be improved. This is my design. We'll go to the next person's design. Alright, so the next design we got here is Adasi, and this is a 1440 an hour compared to my 1100 an hour there. So this one, obviously a bit quicker. Also, really nice redstone here. Nice and compact, which is always really good. Definitely not observer spam at all here. Simple on-off switch, like I required for every single AutoCrafter in this challenge, is that there needs to be an on-off switch, but there does not have to be an on-off, like a fill level detector of the item droppers, just because it's just going to make the crafter way too bulky, and we want to just try to get the crafter itself done, and then you can worry about that all later. If you wanted to add that yourself, just basically what I would do is take an output or take a signal from the dropper above, that way you're not running off of the actual stuff inside here, because if you do that, there is a low chance or like a risk of, you know, it not being able to get catched up and it be a little bit short on materials, and you never want that for an AutoCrafter, because that would require you to go to the AutoCrafter, empty the table, and then reset everything, so that could take some time. So I would take if you're going to do that, take it from either the hopper here, or if you have a shulker box unloader, take it from there. That way it's a bit different and easier to handle and maintain over time. Enough about that. Turn actually Dozzy's crafter on here. You can see that the fill sequence is also faster than mine by a little bit, 300 more an hour. Definitely it does add up, especially over long periods of time. And you can see it still uses the hopper underneath to take the items out here. And having a faster crafter, what if you would hook it up directly to a shulker factory or a shulker farm, as well as a way to get chests. I do have an updated chest crafter as well. You can see the other items get recycled, so you don't need to ever refill those. And then you just have a hopper into each one of these guys, because they use so little items an hour. You can basically keep that up and not need 2x input into the dropper, which just makes it more friendly. So yeah, that's Dozzy's here. Much more compact than my original one, as you can see. All in all, very solid crafter, but the observer span quite insane. That's really what you got to do for the 2 wide tileable things. It's just not much different you can do about that. So on to the next one. Next one we got here is Henrik's at 1636 an hour, and it is also 3 wide, and actually one of the smallest ones in terms of like the schematic size. It's very compact and still quicker than Dozzy's, which is 2 wide. Obviously with 3 wide you have more space to work with. You're unlimited to the things that you can use for that. But yeah, unfortunately, the only person that sent me their actual steps of designing was Leo, which is the one we're going to show at the last here. So I tried to ask them if they could to send me, you know, their thought process, how they were designing it, but unfortunately nobody did besides Leo. So I also that at the end there, but that's just because I really wanted to see the design process that they went through. But unfortunately most people didn't do that. They just got the crafter down, which is perfectly okay. It's just more for the video if I were to somehow get them to show their design process and everything like that. So yeah, this one's a bit faster here. The only thing I don't like about this one is the on-off switch having to be an extra block out. Really nothing else you can do about that, unfortunately. This one here, turn this one on. You can see here that it's a bit quicker with the input of the items. Obviously they are also using the hopper, so they are limited to that. The 5 items need to be taken out of the crafting table, which limits you to the speed, basically. So you can get the items in as quick as you can, but then you gotta still wait for all of the 4 dummy items to come out of the crafter, and then the one for the crafted shulker box here. Still quicker than Dozzy's, basically down to all the reset and the time it takes the items to get into the crafting table. You can see there's 2 waves. You got the 4, you get the shulker, the 2 dummy items, and the chest at the same time. And then after that, you do the 2 dummy items and then the other shulker shell there. Also has the on-off switch here, which can be turned on at any time and it won't break the crafter at all, which is also something very important for an on-off switch that I basically require it to do. So if you turn it on and off, then nothing interferes with anything at all. And then we also have a tiled version of this here, which also has its on-off switch here. So there's 4 of them individual, and then you can see that we get 4 shulker boxes fairly quickly. Alright, on to the next one. We have Leo's crafter here. This is his version 1. Now I do have the actual V1 that was sent. I will put a screenshot up here that Leo sent me of the actual version 1 of this. Alright, so here we have Leo's one wide tileable, his version 1 of the crafter here. The main goal obviously for Leo was to make it one wide tileable, which is why it is actually a bit slower than some of the other crafters we've seen so far, but the tileability factor does really scale up, especially if it's one wide tileable, especially with the rates this can do. It's basically the speed of my first crafter, but it's one wide tileable. Now yes, it's about the same size almost, but like the tileability factor is huge, especially for actually building the crafter in survival. This will make it a much smaller space to need. So if we needed 9 of these guys in a line, compared to my other one, which needs a 4-block space, this one needs 1 block wide, and you can tile them all next to each other without interference. So there is no actual clock on this one. This is actually the version 1. As like I said, Leo was the only one to give me basically the thought process and like the steps that he did with the actual crafter. So you can actually see kind of the process that Leo went through here. It's actually a bit different compared to everybody else with the 1 item in the top dropper compared to, let's say, for example, Dozzy's here, where it has all 9 items or all 9 slots filled. The same for mine here, has all the items up there filled, and then the same for Henrik as well. The dummy items are all filled completely, but for Leo's here, they only have 1 at the top and the full thing at the bottom. And this one is compatible with non-stackable shulker boxes for the carpet rule. So you can see in here, because I do have stackable shulker boxes on this world here. I need to actually increase the fill level of that hopper here, as well as the dropper, or the hopper here, and then the dropper, so that they cannot transfer any more items into here. And no matter what one the dropper spits out, it will always choose the shulker box. So if you do use it with stackable shulker boxes, obviously your buffer needs to be ridiculous, but without it, all you need to do is 9 shulker boxes here, 1 here, 1 here. Yeah, there's different items for each filter here, but all we do is have the no block here for the showcase basically. You can see it gets rid of it. Now, obviously you're limited with the 1 wide tile ability here, so there's really not much you can do here, but it's still very, very clean, obviously for his version 1 basically. There's other pre-versions here that use cake and stuff like that, so Leo made a bit of a change to it, which in turn helps out with everything here. And it's also very, very clean. A little bit of empty space over here, but that's because this piston pushes out here, and this observer goes down to here, so you need a little bit of space there. But still very, very clean and 1 wide tileable, which is a huge, huge factor here. Then we move on to V2 right next to it. You can see a little bit has changed here, and some things have added, some things have gone, a bit changed. And then the same thing here. Actually do need to change this over and update the filters here. So we're gonna do that real quick. All right, turning this one on after we put the adjust the filters here and stuff like that. This one has an actual clock to it, which is good. Obviously there's no real way to turn this one off without interfering with something. So that's the only downside. Once you turn this one on, there's really not an easy way to turn it off without interfering, because if you do power this piston here, it will obviously start another sequence, and you really don't want that. So there's kind of a difficult way to turn this one off. But just adding the global clock here, or the actual clock to the crafter, does make it useful. There's obviously a use case where you can't really turn it off. But yeah, it's still a very, very nice crafter. Still 1 wide tileable, which really, really makes a difference in terms of like just scaling it. Make 1 of them and then scale it to your needs, depending on how fast your shulker farm is, depending on how fast your chests are. But yeah, so on to the pre-tiled one that Leo did here. And I'm going to have to change the filters for all these, so give me a couple seconds here and I will be back. Alright, so with this one, Leo made 9 of them and slowed them down a little bit to 1,000 an hour, so that you can basically have all 9 of these hooked up to 1 hopper output right here basically, and then which means that the hopper can keep up with it, which is always a good thing. And you can see just how simple it is to tile these guys here. Even has shulker box or chest input here. We have the wool here to indicate what this is a carpet, TIS carpet wool, that wherever the hopper has a piece of wool on top of it, instead of pointing into a wool, basically the hopper will not basically automatically get refilled, or it will not lose its items in a sense. As opposed to having a bunch of chests and hoppers to test your crafters, stuff like that, this will do it for you, not have to do anything really special. So you can see they're all chained in a line. This is basically just to show that they are all one wide tileable and nothing will interfere with that. Yeah, it has the on off switch here, so we can turn that on. Wait for the fade to go, and then there we go. There's all of our shulker boxes. We'll have to block this off so that nothing gets stuck there. And because of that, we will have to just take one out and put it in there. We can see that's perfect hopper speed. There's one inside the whole time. Now there does get more, but you can see the different length in between all of them. But it's also very, very satisfying to watch here. Them all not actually be in sync. Because it's just kind of like a ripple effect all the way down, which is really, really satisfying to watch. So yeah, Leah did a really, really good job with this one, being at one wide tileable. Makes it really, really satisfying and just practical in a survival world. Instead of having to build a bunch of them all over the place, this one wide tileable one here will basically do that all for you in a very, very compact way. Now it is kind of unfortunate with the shulker boxes needing to be completely pre-filled here, which means you need about, with stackable shulker boxes, you need about 11 stacks of shulker boxes per crafter, and that does scale up. So basically you need almost 100 stacks of shulker boxes for this crafter here as a buffer for the filters. So a little bit unfortunate, but if you don't have stackable shulker boxes, it does also work with that. You'll just need to decrease the amount in here, which is not hard to do at all. But then obviously your storage system would have to be quite insane to have that. Yeah, the on-off switch does work with this one. Don't interfere with anything. You have to use the comparative fade out clock. And yeah, so that's this one here. We have one more crafter to show in this short amount of time. You can see we already got over 4 stacks of shulker boxes from Leo's crafter. Obviously there is 9 crafters, but that does still do really, really, really good here. Now on to the last one right here. This is basically the max crafter that I received from Henrik. So at 14 game tech clock, you can craft 5,000, a little over 5,100 shulker boxes per hour. But if you do increase it to a 12 game tick clock, however, when you do decrease it to a 12 game tick clock, you do run into the issue of the crafter being locational. So basically, turn shaders off here real quick, and we'll turn chunk borders on. Basically, the crafter will completely need to be in one subchunk, which this one coincidentally is when I pasted it. So that's these blue lines here. This is what the chunk is divided into subchunks. So if it does cross over or cross over a chunk boundary here, then that would run into some issues. So yeah, just doing that. And it does also have a book here that walks you through everything about it, the actual what it uses, then all that kind of stuff and like that. And then basically one box every 0.7 seconds, which is really, really fast. And then they do also tell you how to increase the clocks, basically the crafting speed if you do want to make it locational. Like I said, it needs to be one sub-chunk, not cross chunk borders. But if you keep it with the default one that it comes in, which is the 12 game tick clock, or the 14 game tick clock rather, it is about 5,142 shulker boxes per hour. This one goes quite quick, so if you do want to look very closely here, basically the use of the hopper minecarts allows you to tick this very, very quickly, which is what the 12 or the 14 game tick clock we're on right now, which makes it about a little over 5,100 shulker boxes per hour, which is just insane to do. And you do also need 2 inputs for the shulker shells here. This is really designed if you have a big backload of these shells in the chest to do that. Otherwise, it just really doesn't work, because you would the farm you would need to keep up with this is insane, especially for the chest. So this one here, we're gonna turn this off, and you do whenever you turn it off, it won't interfere. We are going to, however, increase this to 6,000 an hour clock to show that off, and I'll do that real quick. All right, so basically to decrease the clock here to a 12 game tick clock, all we need to do is break this observer and node block here, put a solid block here, and then a node block here, and then that will basically get rid of an observer tick, which makes it a 12 game tick instead of 14. And that's all you need to do to make it a 12 game tick clock instead of the 14. So you get about 850 more shulker boxes per hour per module. If you need more than this, I don't know what to tell you. This one does, however, I think need to be stackable shulker boxes for it to work. And then obviously these can be any filter item. And then those just need to be filled right here. So yeah, 12 game tick clock, here we go. You can't really tell because it's 2 game ticks faster. You basically need to slow the tick rate down with carpet to kind of see that, but it is 2 game ticks faster, and that gives you the 6,000 shulker boxes per hour output, which is just insane. I never thought I would see this just being done. This is all down to the hopper minecarts. But yeah, so Henry also does have a lot of fast, basically the max AutoCrafters. If you do want to see those, I will leave a link down below to Henry's YouTube video that shows all of these basically max crafters that you can do in the game, basically down to the game tick that you can improve it on. So yeah, that's pretty much every single crafter I've received. And then obviously the 2 winners are here, are the fastest crafter is Henry, and then the most compact one is Leo, just because of the tileability factor to it. Technically, the other most compact one would be Henrik's here, but just because of the tileability, this one is just a better in terms of like space to this one over here. So yeah, that's kind of what it comes down to. This one is more survival practical, just because it's the same thing repeated over the full thing, and it's all 1 wide. This one is still really survival practical, but it being 3 wide isn't really the best here, but still very, very compact if you want to use this one. If you need to restrict it on space, this is your go-to, because it's the size of the crafter itself. If you need a 2 wide one, Dozzy's is good there. I would not recommend using that one unless you absolutely have to. But there's definitely way better crafters here. Leo's V1, the actual clock here. Not being able to turn this one off is kind of really annoying. It's not really the best at all, but you definitely could try to adapt it and make it doable with that. And then obviously the tiled one does have an actual on-off switch, which is really, really good. Henry's here just pushes the limits to as fast as possible for the shulker box crafter, which once again is just absolutely insane here. It's all down to, like I said, the hopper minecart being used. That's really the big difference maker. And then Henrik's is the fastest with the regular hopper. This is the fastest with the actual hopper minecart. There was no specifications. You could use hopper minecarts, you could use hoppers. Hopper minecarts are just generally more difficult to deal with because of their nature and everything like that. So if this does, you guys do want to participate in the next one we do, definitely join the Discord down below. There is an AutoCrafting challenge channel where I will be posting a new one if we do that. If we don't, then this was still a really, really good experience, and get you guys some experience inside AutoCrafting, because it's generally not used too often, and I do want to kind of push it out there, make it more known. Does require carpet mod and the carpet table extension, of course, to do this, but it's still a really, really fun feature, and in my opinion, should be added to vanilla Minecraft, just because it offers so much more to the game than people actually think. And it does actually take quite a bit of time to design them. You can ask anybody in this video that it did take actual like hours to design the crafters here, just because you'd want to get it basically perfect, and it does take time to actually design anything in Minecraft here. So that's my opinion. Some people feel the same way, some people don't. It's just because we need a lot of things in even just regular Minecraft. You need a lot of materials, and spending hours at a crafting table isn't ideal. So yeah, but I appreciate you guys all tuning in for this special episode. We do have more planned for AutoCrafting soon. If you guys want to participate in the challenge, like I said, join Discord down below, and then make your way over there to that challenge. If you do want any of the schematics down here, I will be leaving them in the Discord. They will be all in that AutoCrafting challenge channel there if you do want to get them. But definitely big thanks to everybody that participated in the challenge here. Everything down below. If you'd like, subscribe, all those sorts of things. See you all later.